Hey everybody! Today we're counting down the 10 most addictive games you can play on Nintendo Switch right now. The kind you pick up for just one more run, and suddenly it's 2 a.m. Let's get into it. Ball X Pit is basically what happens when someone took Breakout, threw it into a blender with vampire survivors, and then added a full-on base building system on top. You play as a treasure hunter who drops into this massive pit full of monsters called Balbalon, and your weapon is literally balls that bounce off walls and enemies. Every run, you're picking up new balls, fusing them together to create wild combinations, like freezing a fireball with an earthquake ball to get something that stuns and shakes the whole screen at once. As you level up mid-run, you choose upgrades, and every build feels different. Then, between runs, you come back up to the surface and spend your gold and materials building out your little town, unlocking new characters and permanent upgrades. Each character plays totally differently. One fires from the top of the screen downward, another shoots 2 mirrored balls at once. It crossed 1 million copies sold fast, and once you start, you'll understand exactly why. Dead Cells is a roguelike action platformer that never gets old, no matter how many hours you put into it. You play as a failed experiment, a blob of cells that takes over a dead body, and your job is to fight through a crumbling island prison full of monsters and traps to find a way out. The combat is fast and brutal. You're building a loadout from scratch every single run. Swords, shields, bows, grenades, traps, and everything can synergize with everything else if you combine them right. Finding a broken build that just destroys everything feels incredible. When you die, you lose your progress for that run, but you keep cells you collected to permanently unlock new weapons and abilities. The island itself changes layout every run, so you're never walking the same path twice. The game keeps adding bosses and biomes and weapons, even years later. There's honestly a ridiculous amount of content at this point. Dead Cells rewards you for learning its rhythm. Look, I know Mario Kart needs no introduction, but the reason it stays addictive is worth talking about. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on Switch is the complete package. 96 tracks across every difficulty, a massive roster, and online multiplayer that just works. The physics feel incredible, drifting around corners to charge up a boost, timing your items right, taking the perfect shortcut on a track you've done 100 times. You never stop improving. A track you thought you mastered reveals a shortcut 3 months later. The item system keeps every race unpredictable. You can be dominating and still catch a blue shell at the worst moment. Playing locally with people is still one of the best party gaming experiences out there, and online has enough players that matches are always fast to find. The battle mode is underrated too. Balloon popping on classic Nintendo arenas is pure chaos. Booster Course Pass added 48 tracks that cover decades of Mario Kart history. Vampire Survivors is the definition of a game that sounds boring until you play it. You pick a character, walk around a big arena, and enemies just spawn in from every direction, hundreds of them, eventually thousands. You don't aim, your weapons fire automatically, your whole job is to dodge and collect the gems enemies drop to level up. Every level up, you pick a new weapon or passive upgrade. And here is where the magic is. Weapons evolve. Get a specific weapon and a specific item at the same time, and they fuse into something far more powerful. The goal is to survive 30 minutes, but the real goal is building a combination so broken that you're clearing the entire screen every 2 seconds. It's that build crafting loop that's dangerously addictive. There are dozens of characters, each with their own starting weapon and stat twists, tons of maps with different enemies and secrets, and unlocking new items by reaching certain milestones keeps pulling you forward. Celeste is a platformer about climbing a mountain, and also about something much heavier than that. But without spoiling anything, the story earns every emotion it goes for. The gameplay is tight precision platforming. You can move, jump, and do a single dash in any direction. That's your whole toolkit. The levels are built as small rooms, each one a puzzle you solve, with your body figuring out the exact angle, timing, and sequence of moves to get through. You will fail, a lot. The game tracks your deaths and just lets them stack up without making you feel bad about it. There's something about the way it's designed where every death teaches you something, so you never feel stuck. You always feel one attempt away. Assist mode lets you slow the game down or turn on infinite dashes if you need it. No judgment. The harder, optional levels push into some of the most demanding platforming ever designed, if you want that. Hades is a dungeon crawler roguelike where you play as Zagreus, the son of Hades, trying to escape the underworld. Every run you fight through chambers of Greek mythology enemies, collecting boons, power-ups gifted by the Olympian gods like Zeus, Poseidon, and Artemis, and each god offers completely different playstyles. Zeus shocks enemies that spread lightning to nearby targets. Poseidon knocks everything back and deals damage on impact. Artemis crits. Mixing these together creates unique builds every single run. When you die, you go back to the underworld hub, talk to characters, build relationships, and then go again. The writing is genuinely good. Every character has personality, dialogue evolves over dozens of runs, and the story only fully unfolds the more you play. Combat feels amazing, fast, readable, with a darkness mechanic that rewards pushing your luck. Balatro is a poker-based roguelike deck builder, and I genuinely could not explain in person why it's so addictive, but it absolutely is. You're playing poker hands against a score threshold that climbs each round. You earn money, buy joker cards that modify your score in wild ways, and upgrade your deck with special cards. The numbers scale so aggressively that by the end of a run, you can be multiplying scores into the hundreds of millions with a single hand. Every joker does something different. Some multiply specific hand types, some activate on face cards, some interact with suits. Finding a combination that creates a snowball effect is endlessly satisfying. Each run plays differently, depending on what jokers appear in the shop. There are multiple difficulty stakes, dozens of different starting deck types, and challenge runs that completely flip the rules. The visual style is simple, but the animations and sounds when big multipliers hit are weirdly satisfying. Hades 2 takes everything the first game nailed and builds on it. You play as Melinoi, Zagreus' sister, a witch trained to fight her way through the underworld. But the structure is different this time. There are two separate routes to run, both with their own enemies, bosses, and lore. The boon system comes back, with all new gods and all new ability combos. And there's a witchcraft layer on top, with spells and incantations that Zagreus never had. The narrative is deeper from the start. Characters feel well developed almost immediately, and the art direction is even more stunning. What's remarkable is this launched in early access and already had more content than most finished games. The progression system between runs is richer. You're gathering resources to craft upgrades, unlock new tools, and expand your abilities in ways the first game didn't have. The combat gets even more expressive with the weapon variety available. Octopath Traveler 0 is a massive JRPG and a prequel to the whole series. For the first time, you create your own protagonist. Their look, voice, backstory, and your hometown gets destroyed early in the story, setting you on a long journey of rebuilding and revenge across the world of Orstera. The combat uses the break and boost system. Weaken enemies by hitting their elemental weaknesses to shatter their shield, then unleash your stored-up attack boosts for massive damage on a helpless target. The party can hold up to 8 characters now, and with over 30 recruitable allies, there's an enormous amount of tactical depth in building your team. Between battles, you rebuild your destroyed hometown by placing structures, farming crops, and inviting companions to live there, which adds a surprisingly cozy layer between the epic dungeon runs.
I summon thee, Elfric.
I appreciate it.
Right.
Pokémon Pokopia is the freshest thing the Pokémon franchise has done in years, and it just came out in March 2026. You play as a Ditto who woke up in a completely desolate world. The humans are gone, nature is dead, and barely any Pokemon remain. You transform into a human shape and start rebuilding. You learn moves from Pokemon you befriend, digitally downloaded, use Bulbasaur's leafage to make grass grow, transform into a Lapras to surf, glide as a Dragonite. As you restore the land, more Pokemon show up, and each one you befriend brings new abilities and requests that push the world forward. It plays like a blend of Animal Crossing and Minecraft, with the full Pokédex involved, real-time day/night cycles, weather, farming, building, different biomes to unlock. It earned a 90% on Metacritic, Bulbapedia making it the highest-rated Pokemon game ever, and it sold over 2 million copies in its first 4 days. And that's the list. Drop a comment with which one you're most addicted to. I'd love to know. Like the video, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.